Shabbat Shalom. So nice to be here with all of you. Thank you for coming. And thank you very much in particular to our three guests from Spirit of the Galilee, Ruach Jalil. How do you say it in Arabic? Ruach Jalil. Ruach Jaliliya. Jaliliya or Jalil? Louder. Good. Yes, most of the evening, hearing from Rabbi Ozoa. This is Rabbi Ozoa, from Father Saba, and from Radil Hani. Right, these are our three guests from the Galilee, and I'll give a little more of an introduction later when we really hear them speak. But until we get to the talking part, I think we should do some music and bring in Shabbat and come into our own here so that we can take in the sounds and the words. And so I would like to start with lighting the Shabbat candles. Giora, what are they thinking about? Go. That's a great idea. All right. Guys, we have there's a lot of special guests here tonight. Other than the three of you, I have cousins here from Vermont, which is very exciting. Cousins, you want to come light candles? Come. Cousins and Viola are like a very powerful candle lighting bunch. Yes. Viola plus cousins equals power. Shabbat power. Okay, here we go. You can, yeah, there you go. Tallulah is gonna do it. Tallulah is gonna light, and we can all sing together. You guys ready? Here we go. She wants to connect with. I invite you each to bring someone. So my first introduction is my good friend, my good childhood friend, Zoa. We went to high school together. We wrote our first play together, and then we both miraculously ended up as rabbis. Who knows? Bo is the Reform rabbi of Misgav, which is a part of the Galilee, in Lower Galilee. And he also founded this organization and runs this organization, Spirit of the Galilee. And aside from all of that, always this fabulous musician who writes and performs music, often with his wife Eliza. And I asked to maybe give us a nigun.
Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to be here, to be back at the New York congregation of my friend, Rabbi Misha Shul. How nice. Our conversation this evening will be about a country that we all care for. We may call it different names, but we all love and care for it. It's a country that needs a lot of healing. So I'd like to share with you a healing song, a healing prayer. It's based on the Jewish, I'm saying I'd borrow a term from your father's field of study, mantra, a Jewish mantra, El Na Vefanara. It's a healing prayer, and it's connected together with the serenity prayer. Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara. Will you try this with me? Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara. God grant me the serenity to accept the thing I cannot change. God grant me the courage to change. Grant me the wisdom to know the difference. Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara, Ella Vefanara. מי שברא אבותינו הוא ירפא את החולים, מקור שכינה לאמותינו, היא תמצא מזון הסובלים, רפואת הנפש והגוף, רפואה שלמה. אל הרפאנה, אל הרפאנה, אל הרפאנה, אל הרפאנה. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can. God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. El Arefana, El Arefana, El Arefana, El Arefana, El Arefana, El Arefana, El
Galilee comes from the city of Akko. Akko, people know Akko. You guys know the geography of the north of Israel. You know, on the north of Israel, all the way on the west side, on the Mediterranean, there's this incredible ancient city called Akko, and that's where Ladil is from. And I'll let Ladil later. You'll hear more from Ladil about her work. I'll just say, Ladil, that Erica, my wife Erica, just reminded me that the last time that I saw your face was when I was watching Vivian Silver's funeral. And Ladil spoke very movingly and beautifully at that sad, although edifying event. Ladil is going to read us a poem in Arabic by Mahmoud Al-Wishre, and then we'll translate it. Okay, perfect.
شكرا تبع ربع. فكر بغيرك وأنت تعد فطورك، فكر بغيرك لا تنس قوت الحمام، وأنت تخوض الحروب حروبك، فكر بغيرك لا تنس من يطلبون السلام، وأنت تسدد فاتورة الماء، فكر بغيرك من يرضعون الغنام، وأنت تعود إلى البيت بيتك، فكر بغيرك لا تنس شعب الخيام، وأنت تنام وتحصي الكواكب، فكر بغيرك ثمة من لم يجد حيزا للمنام، وأنت تحرر نفسك بالاستعارات، فكر بغيرك من فقدوا حقهم في الكلام، وأنت تفكر بالآخرين البعيدين، فكر بنفسك قل ليتني شمعة في الظلام.
Think upon others. Think upon others. Do not forget those who demand peace. As you pay your water bill, think about others who seek sustenance from the clouds, not a tent. When you return home to your house, think upon others, such as those who live in tents. When you fall asleep, counting plants, think upon others who cannot find a place to sleep. And as you search for meaning with fancy metaphors, think upon others who have lost their right to speak. And when you think of others, far away. Think of yourself and say, I am a candle in the darkness. Father Saba comes to us from the village of Iblim, which is it's both a Muslim and Muslims and Christians live, right? And it's not far from where O lives, right? It's near Shfar'an, 25 minutes. So if you know where Accra is on the map, you right in the northwest. It's a little bit inland and a little bit south. Is about right? Yes. Okay. And Father Saba has a congregation of several thousand, around 5,000 congregants. Is that right? Yes. Of Orthodox Christian. Right? He says there's 5,000 Orthodox and in the village and 1,300 Greek Orthodox. The Roman Catholic or Greek Catholic. Father Saba is he's. You want to explain about the Makam and these the Psalms? Yes, we would love to hear. I've been excited. Ola told me that the Father sings these ancient makams, these psalms in Arabic. So I'd love to hear what they are and what the music piece is, and then maybe sing for us a little bit. Get us sing.
It's the Byzantine music. We have 8 tones. And it's like the Eastern music that we have lot of maqamat. We have the Hijaz. This is in the 6th tone in the Byzantine music. You have two scales in the minor and the major. And we have them. We don't have instrument in the Byzantine music. We have only the voice. That's why we have to be. You have to have a very good. We have ear. Yeah? And we have also the quarter tones. We have you cannot make this re mi. Then this mi is not the re mi fa sol fa mi re. I will sing in this scale. Okay. I will sing. This is the first tone in the Byzantine music, and it's called the Bayat Maqam in the Eastern music. It's from the Psalms 135. Praise the name of the God. Praise Him. سبحوا اسم الرب سبحوه يا عبيد الله هللويا الواقفين في بيت الرب وفي ديار بيت إله الأمم فضة وذهب صنع أيدي البشر
Very swaying. I have to perfect my habit. We're gonna do one lechadodi. All of that in Kabbalat Shabbat traditionally, we do all these songs at the beginning to get in the mood. Then we sing lechadodi, and then we get more serious. So we're going to do all that. But Ova is going to lead us with lechadodi, and then we can do 1, 2, 5, 9, or maybe just 1, 2, 9. However you want to play.
So this was actually composed in the Galilee. And written. Lechadodi לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה. Try this. לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה. שמעו וזכרו בדיבורך ישמענו אל עמך אדוני אחד הוא שמו אחד לשם ולתפארת ותהילה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה. התעוררי כי בעורף וביומי וביומי שיר דמני כבוד אדוני עלי נגלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה בני שבת נקבלה לכדודי לקראת קהלה. It's customary to rise and face the door and greet Shabbat to come into our hearts, into our lives, to our souls. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי Shabbat shalom to everyone.
תודה רבה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום. So this evening and such evenings are important for a couple reasons. One is that here in this country we're struggling to be together in community with people we don't agree with, or people who are different than us, different faiths, different cultures. And these folks are in the place where it looks hardest to do, and they're doing it. So that's one reason that I thought, this is important right now. We got a Ki Zion Tetzet Torah, right? From Zion comes Torah. So that's one of the pieces here. The other piece is has to do with the types of voices. I'm saying this to the three of you, really. I'm saying it to everybody, but I'm saying this by means of introduction to these people you're going to speak to in a minute. The types of voices that we hear here in the U.S. Yeah? The types of voices that we hear tend to be on the Jewish side, these kind of Israeli voices from Israel, which don't take too much into account what's happening in Gaza, for example, and they don't see the news, and so it comes from that point of view. And then we hear Palestinian voices that sometimes they're coming from Gaza, sometimes they're coming from the West Bank, and more often, for me, I feel like I'm hearing a lot from the Palestinian diaspora, which is also a similar, there's also a certain blind spot with that perspective. And for me, the voices of people living in Israel, of the Palestinian citizens of Israel, like the two of you, those to me have become really crucial voices for people here to hear and to understand. It feels to me like that's a perspective that by definition is looking to improve the situation and not to come up against reality. That's my personal feeling. I'm sharing something personal, yeah. But this is kind of how I feel, and the voices that I'm hearing from the Palestinian citizens of Israel and the Israeli far left groups like Omdim B'Yachad, Standing Together, and things like that. I'm hearing very important voices from those groups, and specifically the Palestinian voices. So I thought it was, when I heard that when Om told me that not only he's coming, but Saba and Adil are coming too, I thought, okay, we have to do this not just for music and fun, but we have to do this so that we can hear and connect with both the reality, understand something about the reality of what's happening there, but also see how the work towards shifting that reality is constant and is not stopping and has not stopped. So, I'll ask you each to just introduce yourself. What are you doing here? How did you get here? What are you doing in the States? How did you get to this position? And why you came tonight and to this whole trip to the U.S.
Thank you, Rabbi Misha. We came, the three of us, to the United States to share our journey and to represent a group of 30, there's 30 of us, there's about 30 people who are part of the Spirit of the Galilee. They're all community leaders. Some are clergy, such as myself and as Abuna Saba. Some are prominent activists and people of peace who have some clout in their communities, such as Radir, Hani. And we came here to bring the voice of that group. I want to tell you how the group started. I'll go back a few years back. I moved to the Galilee about 12 years ago with my family. Recently ordained rabbi. Previously I was working in Tel Aviv, but we wanted something different. And we moved to the Galilee, not because it's more affordable and beautiful, but because we had an idea that it's going to be an interesting place to live, because we knew in advance that the Galilee is a very diverse part of Israel. There's about 50% of the population who are Jewish, and the other 50% are Arab, predominantly Muslim, but also Christian, and Druze and other religions as well. And but I didn't have a lot of contact in the first years with the Arab population. I want to tell you a story. A few years back, it was Yom Kippur, and it was actually exactly 9.5 years ago, because my daughter, who's 9.5, was born just 4 days before Yom Kippur, my youngest daughter. And I went to lead prayers in a town that was about 40 minutes away from where I live. The Galilee is there's many small communities, so you don't always, so I moved from town to town. Yom Kippur was to be far away. And when I came back from the Yom Kippur prayers, and you know, Rabbi, in Yom Kippur, every rabbi thinks that their congregation is huge, because many people came and they were singing, and the hall was full, and I felt like I was doing a pretty okay job with the sermons and praying, and you know, and I was kind of like driving back home, wanting to see my baby girl and saying, "Oh, Rabbi Zohar, you did well," you know, and then I was approaching a certain Arab village, Kfar Manda, and as I was getting near the village, a group of youngsters from the village kind of passed me and kind of waved at me in weird ways, like this more or less, and turns out that I was so happy about Yom Kippur that I forgot to see that the gouge of my motor had overheated, and steam was coming out of the engine, but I didn't notice because I was, you know, and then I had to pull over by the side of the road near the Arab village, very dark night. Dogs are howling in the distance. Let's make it more dramatic. What's more dramatic than dogs howl, right? And I was stuck basically. I couldn't drive another foot. And I said, God, what are you trying to teach me? Haven't I prayed? Was the prayer not, you know, I actually also fasted, in fact. So what was wrong? What's the lesson? And I was asking God in the darkness, after Ne'ilah, a black Mercedes-Benz pulls by me and parks, and the door opens, and a tall Arab man comes out of the Mercedes-Benz and he asks, "What's wrong? Are you stuck? Can I help you?" And I will make a long story short. I left that village 3 hours later with trays of food for my family, and we had to wait for the tow truck. And so he hosted me in the Arab tradition. And when I came back home, I said, "God, thank you. I think I learned the lesson." And from that moment, I decided that my rabbinate will not just be for the Jews, and that I will try to reciprocate this hospitality in so many ways. And you know, when you move to a place, it changes you, right, Rabbi? I remember you in Jerusalem. When you move to New York, it changes you, right? So 12 years in the Galilee also changed you. And what happened to me, that I really started to learn what it means to live in a shared society. And we started doing, inspired by that and other things that happened, we started with people-to-people events, bringing people for holidays together, lighting Hanukkah candles, being invited before Christmas, being invited, you know, to different villages. You know, started to meet leaders such as Radir, such as Abuna, And we said, maybe what we need to do is not just people to people, maybe we should start bringing the leaders together. Because if we can bring the leaders together, then it will grow exponentially. And that's what we started doing. 4 years ago, we founded the organization, Spirit of the Galilee, that brings together community leaders in the Galilee region, in northern Israel. We meet end-of-year retreats and seminars in the desert or Jerusalem and other places. We build trust. We learn from each other's traditions. Often we agree, very often we also disagree. Not just in our occupation, and issues such as gender equality or LGBT or many things that not all of us agree on in our religion. It's not always smooth and happy rosy. Okay? But what brings all of us together is that we're all determined and committed to being together. And little by little, we even sometimes become friends, actual personal friends. And we gain a lot of things such as beautiful music and beautiful poetry. And then the communities start to come together as well. So Spirit of the Galilee wants to take this group and with it connect all the communities and transform the region, and by that also maybe inspire the country and possibly even beyond, which is why the vision came, to a vision that Israel, Palestine can be a country where people collaborate, where people live together equally. And we're building it from within, from the eye of the storm. We're bringing this message. The trip in America, it's Center. They're an amazing place with a mosque, a church, and a synagogue on one campus and a fourth building where they share. They're the ones who brought us actually on the ground. And it's maybe you should try it here. It's really an amazing experiment, and they're doing a great job there. A great job. It was very, very interesting to visit them. Then we went to LA and visited a synagogue and a church, and then we came here, and we're going to be in New Jersey as well. And I really want to give the microphone to my friends to speak, so I'll just say that it's been also an amazing journey here in the United States, learning how much what happens in our homeland echoes over here in more than one way, and how much important work there is to do everywhere. That's I won't elaborate, but that's basically why we're here. And thank you for having us. Okay, is this microphone working?
אני מתנצלת שאני מבינה אנגלית, אבל אני לא מדברת אנגלית טוב, אז סליחה שאני מדבר.
She understands English, but she's going to speak in Hebrew, and I'll translate. Unfortunately, my Arabic has deteriorated to the degree that I can't translate her Arabic. Tonight, ولكن
صعب اليوم. أنا غدير هاني.
I'm Rabbi Hani.
אני פלסטינית, אזרחית ישראלית.
Palestinian citizen of Israel.
אני ערבייה, מוסלמית ופמיניסטית.
An Arab, a feminist, and a Muslim.
ותכף תבינו למה אני הבאתי את כל ההגדרה הזו של הזהות שלי.
And soon you'll understand why I brought this entire definition of who I am.
אני גרה בעכו.
I live in Akko.
עכו היא עיר מעורבת, שזה משהו קצת מוזר, זה מושג מוזר פה, כי כולם גרים ביחד, למה צריך...
Which is a little bit of a strange phrase here in the States, where everyone lives in a mixed city, but I'll explain.
אז יש בארץ כמה ערים מעורבות. עיר מעורבת זה אומר שיש בין 30 ל-35% ערבים גרים בהם.
Mixed city, what's called a mixed city in Israel, has between 30 and 35% Arab population. That's what that means over there.
אז חלק מהם הם בעצם ילידי העיר וגרים לפני 48, וחלק גדול מהם יצרים פליטים שהגיעו לערים האלה אחרי 48.
Some of them are natives who lived there before 48, and unfortunately a lot of them are refugees who came after 48.
למרות שאנחנו גרים ביחד, אנחנו לומדים בבתי ספר נפרדים, מערכת החינוך נפרדת לערבים וליהודים.
Our education system is separate for Jews and Arabs.
ויש כמה בתי ספר דו-לשוניים בארץ, אבל מעט מאוד של עמותת יד ביד ועמותת הדר, אבל הם מעטים.
There is a chain of a few bilingual schools in Israel, but they're few and far between.
אז המפגש הראשון בין הבני נוער או הילדים הערבים ויהודים לאורך הזמן זה בעיקר אחרי גיל 18, אחרי בית ספר, בעבודה או באקדמיה.
The first time that Jews and Arabs tend to meet is later in life, at university or in a job or later stages.
מה שגורם להרבה פחד, הרבה בורות, הרבה חוסר היכרות הזה מאוד מאוד פוגע במרקם החיים בארץ.
That has a bad impact on the fabric of the society in Israel. The fact that these first initial meetings happen so late.
הביקור שלנו היה מתוכנן לצערי לפני המלחמה, ואז לצערי פרצה המלחמה. אז אני אתחיל לשתף בפעילות שלי בהקשר הזה של החיים משותפים, של שיח בין דתי.
So the trip was planned before October 7th. And then happened, unfortunately after. But she's going to start by describing the general work that came even before October 7th.
אז אני כבר שנים מעורבת בשיח בין דתי לשלום, למרות שאני לא חושבת שהסכסוך הישראלי-פלסטיני הוא סכסוך דתי.
For years I've been involved.
כולנו.
So long as there are people who see it as a religious conflict, I want to talk to them about these ideas of the Holy Land and things like that.
אבל קודם צריך להכיר, כי שלום נבנה על בסיס אמון, ואמון נבנה מתוך היכרות.
But first we have to get to know each other because peace is built out of the trust that comes from getting to know one another.
אז אני הולכת להרבה מפגשים, אני מעבירה תוכנית חינוכית של 4 מפגשים לתלמידות ותלמידי בתי ספר יהודים יחד עם רב או רבנית.
So I conduct these meetings for younger people, often with a rabbi, between young Jews and young Arabs.
במסגרות היהודיות אני מלמדת על האסלאם, על יסודות האמונה, קדושת הארץ, קדושת החיים וחוקי שלום ומלחמה, ובמפגשים עם הצעירים הערבים או הצעירות הערביות אז הרב או הרבנית מדברים על היהדות באותם מתחמים.
For the Jewish kids, she teaches about the Muslim principles of the value of life and a number of these basic Muslim principles. And the rabbi will teach the Arab kids about the Jewish principles from the rabbi's perspective.
ועל הדרך אנחנו מדברים על התרבות, על השפה, שזה משהו שהיהודים לא מכירים. אנחנו לומדים את היסטוריית העם היהודי, אנחנו לומדים תנ"ך ועושים בגרות בתנ"ך, והיהודים לא לומדים, אפילו בקושי לומדים ערבית. אנחנו לומדים בכיתה ב' ערבית, היהודים לומדים בכיתות מאוחרות, ויש בתי ספר שבכלל לא לומדים ערבית ולא לומדים את ההיסטוריה של הערבים.
We try and give over something of the culture, our cultural things, because the Jews don't really get that. The Arab kids will have a sense of some of the cultural pieces of the Jews. For example, they have to do a matriculation exam in Bible studies, in Tanakh. So we'll try and give over some of these more basic cultural pieces.
אז המפגשים האלה בעיניי הם מאוד מאוד משמעותיים, במיוחד במערכת החינוך, שהילדים, אפילו אני זוכרת, הייתי בבית ספר פלך בתל אביב, זה בית ספר דתי לבנות, ואז אחת התלמידות שאלה את המורה שלה, שהוא רב, אם זה בסדר ללמוד מהקוראן וללמוד על האסלאם.
These are very interesting meetings between these kids. She remembers one in Tichon Perech, in a high school called Perech in Tel Aviv, which is a religious school, in which one of the students asked her teacher whether it's okay, whether it's permissible to study verses from the Quran.
והכי מעניין במפגשים המקבילים שאני עושה עם הקבוצה המוסלמית או הרבנית או רב עושים עם הקבוצה היהודית.
And the most interesting are the preliminary meetings that I do with she'll have a preliminary meeting with the Arab kids, And the rabbi will have a preliminary meeting with Jewish kids. And those are very interesting.
הרבה דעות קדומות, הרבה שאלות שלפעמים אולי הם כזה, אנחנו מרגישים, כאילו, אדם נורמלי אומר, איזה שאלה, איך שואלים שאלה כזו, אבל זה אמיתי. הילדים לא יודעים.
There's a lot of, there's the amount of, ideas about the other is all over the place, and they ask questions that you can't even imagine.
שזה, אומנם אנחנו לא עושים את זה כדי לגרום לאנשים להיות מוסלמים או יהודים, אבל הרבה פוחדים מהסכנה הזו, ואז אנחנו באים ואומרים, אנחנו גם, כשאנחנו עושים את המפגשים, אנחנו בעצם, לנו מאוד חשוב שבאמת גם ביוזמה שלנו, אבל בכלל, כשאשר האמונה בדת שלך, בדת שלך היא חזקה, אז אין פה פחד מזה שללמוד על הדת האחרת, ולהכיר את הדת החדשים. ואז יש כאלה שנגדות, או לא צריכה ללמוד על האסלאם. מה זה נותן לי? אני לא רוצה, כאילו, וזה מעניין.
Fear of learning this other culture, and fear of being proselytized. Are they trying to get me to become Muslim or become Jewish? And Adil is saying that for her, when you're secure in your faith, there's no concern. That concern doesn't come out, and she feels secure in hers.
הרב אור לא דיבר במועדים, אם זה הדלקת נרות חנוכה, אם זה סעודות iftar, הרבה דברים שאנחנו עושים ביחד, בעצם זה, אני חושבת שאתם בטח מתרגשים שאנחנו יושבים יחד פה, אז זה מרגש הרבה אנשים באמת.
Another thing that Rabbi O didn't talk about are these holiday celebrations that we do in the spirit of the Galilee. For example, we do a Hanukkah celebration, and it's very exciting. She says probably.
דברים שאנחנו חולקים הרבה דברים או תפילות שאני לא יכולה להגיד אמן, או אבונה סבא או רב אור, כאילו דברים מאמינים, ואנחנו מנסים לא להיכנס כל כך לדברים האלה.
We don't agree on everything, and actually there's certain prayers, for example, that I can't say amen to when Abuna Saba says it or when Ola says it, and so we work through those types of things, and it's interesting. She says that's an interesting piece of the work.
או לעשות תפילה משותפת. כל אחד ואחד מאיתנו יש לו את התפילה שלו, והדת שלו, בזרם שלו, אני מדבר על היהדות ועל הנצרות. אז לפני 7 באוקטובר באמת הגענו למשפחה שממש עברה טבח בחברה הערבית, הנושא של האלימות היה מאוד מאוד חזק, ועשינו תפילה, ואני זוכרת שיזמתי את זה, בהזמנה כתבתי תפילה משותפת, ואז מיד אמרו לי, מה תפילה משותפת? אי אפשר לעשות תפילה משותפת. אז קראנו לזה כאילו תפילות, אז הגיעו איזה 200 נשים וגברים, מכל הזרמים ביהדות, וכמה זרמים באורתודוקסים, בנצרות סליחה, במוסלמים, זה היה מאוד מאוד חזק, המפגש הזה. אנשים ממש כאילו, עודו לנו מאוד.
Even praying together is October 7th. When there was a family, an Arab family who was suffering, there's a lot of violence in the Arab, sent out an invitation, joint prayer. So she had to change the language.
אנחנו כן מצליחות ומצליחים באמת, אנחנו נדבר קצת יותר ככה על מה שקורה היום בארץ. ואני קצת אתן לעבוד לסבא.
Yeah, so that it can be very sensitive, and although she did say before, I forgot to translate, that people were incredibly moved by that gathering, that it was a very moving gathering. People were very grateful for that opportunity. And then she says she'll pass it on to Abuna Saba because she can keep on.
Shabbat Shalom. My first name is Saba. My first name is Saba in Arabic. And originally it's a Greek name, Savas. And it's a name of saint who built in the 6th century, who know in Israel monastery Mar Saba in between Bethlehem and the Dead Sea. So I am a Greek Orthodox priest. Greek is the tradition, the background of our church is Greek, and the leaders of our church also Greek. We have also some praying in Greek. And I am also Palestinian Arab. My mother tongue is Arabic. Our tradition is Arabic. We live in Arab village called Ebeline. As you said, it's 42% Christian, 58% Muslims. And I am also Israeli. I have the Israeli passport. I live in Israel, so sometimes when in Europe, for example, they ask me, where are you from? So it's very difficult question that I cannot answer about it quickly. I have to a little bit to say more than one sentence to get the idea. But I have a lot of identity, but I think there is no paradox between each identity. Sometimes there are tension between the group the group who are representing this identity. For example, I am Christian. In faith, I'm Greek Orthodox Christian. It's my religion. It's my faith. It have to do nothing with being Arab. I belong to the Arab people. I speak Arabic. The Christian were exist before the Islam. The Arab Christian were exist before the Islam. And a lot of very famous Arab poets before the Islam were Christian. As also the Jewish people live in Mecca and Medina before the Islam, as you know, if you know. And I have the Israeli nationality. I have the Israeli passport. I came to the United States by the passport, the Israeli passport. I cannot go to Lebanon. I'm not allowed to go to Lebanon. I'd love to go to Lebanon, but I can't to Syria, to Iraq. I can, after the peace with Egypt, we can travel to Egypt, and after the peace with Jordan, we can go to Jordan. But the other, lot of the Arab country, the country of the enemies, it's defined like this. We cannot go to the country of enemy. I think that, as I said before, I can to put together all this identity. It's not supposed to be that there is paradox between each one and each one, but there is, as I said, there is a problem between the Arab and the Jews, between the Christian and sometimes with the Muslim also, and with the country, which defined the country is defined as a Jewish democratic country, and as I'm Arab, I cannot say the anthem, Nefesh Yehudi Humiyah. How I can say spirit of Jewish?
How do we even translate that?
My overflowing Jewish spirit.
Yeah. How can I say this? So I cannot feel completely belong to this country. I feel belong to this country, and we, as Ghadir said, from the second or the third, in our time, the third grade, we started to learn Hebrew. We read Yediot Ahronot, Ma'ariv. We see the Israeli channel. In our time, in our childhood, we have only two, and sometimes in the two channels, and sometimes in the summer we can also see the third channel. It was only Israel and Jordan channel in the TV, and sometimes we can see also Syria, but not always at that time. So we see the Israeli programs in the TV. We know about the music, about the poet. We study a lot of things about the Jewish people. So somehow we have the Israeli passport. So somehow we feel belong to the Israeli country. But sometimes the war, the tension, the violence make it a little bit difficult between us and between the country. I can say that when I start, and the first time that we really meet the Jewish people, because we live in separated villages and separated towns and separated, and we learn in separated school. So the first time that we meet really the Jewish friends, the Jewish partner, it's in the university. In the university also we study in the Hebrew language. I studied in the Hebrew University law. I was a lawyer before I became a priest. And the first time that I went to the university to ask for a dorms, and that's that time we have room for each 2 students. When my turn came, in the office of the dorms, the lady there, very nice lady, said that I have no place for you. I said, why? She said, why? You give all the people who were before me a room, and you don't give me. She said there is a specific number of rooms in the dorms for the Arab, and specific number for the Jews, and I cannot let you, and I cannot force a Jewish student to live, to force him that you live with him. And she said, I hope that we will reach to a time that you can, that the situation, the political situation will allow us to make this. So we have a lot of one minute. Excuse me, that because my English is the third language, so we have a lot of problems that we have to solve, and we try by the Spirit of Galilee, and I am as a religion leader, I can also make my job in the church, and that's it, but I believe and I feel that I have also a role as a social leader, because to be Christian in Israel, it's not only to believe in God and Jesus Christ and the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. To be Christian in Israel, it's somehow to belong to this minority, as I think as a lot of you as Jews who are in the United States feel, and they will not feel like this if they have been in Israel. So we are a minority in minority. The Arab are 20% from the country, and the Christian are 10% from the Arab, and the Christian are divided to Greek Orthodox and Greek Catholic and Latin and the Syrian and Maronite, a lot of small churches also. And the Christian, they feel, some of them feel really that they belong to the church as a real religion, those who are religious, more religious, and some of them they don't believe in God. And if you ask them what you are, they will say we are Christian. We are Christian as a social group. So I also I have the role to as a social leader for the Christian, and I feel that I have the duty to make my effort to bring the peace, to bring the people together. And we in the Spirit of Galilee, we are not only religion leader. We are friend. I am and my friend, or we have a lot of things that we make together, and a lot of things bring us together as the music, and the music may be a bridge between the people. And there is another thing, the first thing that Or told you about me.
Yes.
What he said?
He said that you're a great drinking buddy.
Yeah. So drinking, food may also bring us to be friends and to be together. So I hope that we will make a good job here and in the Holy Land. And as Ghadir said, it's one picture is better than 1,000 words. One picture of us, that Christian, Muslim, and Jewish are sitting together, it's said a lot.
Yes, it does.
So thank you for being here and for listening. And thank you for the invitation.
طبعاً.
And thanks for also Rabbi.
And from whom? From our Arab neighbors, who, by the way, wouldn't dream. They're not Hamas. But when fear takes over, there's not much you can do. Okay, so there is something that you can do. You can try to be a voice in the, a voice that says, "Hey, slow down with those rifles, man." But so unfortunately, these are the kind of things that we have to start to deal with. And also, people lose their livelihood when the war happens. It happens to Jews. It happens to Arabs. So I found myself, instead of fundraising for seminars of coexistence, fundraising for charity for my neighbors who lost their jobs. And then war is a horrible thing in more than one way. A family in my village, their parents are kidnapped in Gaza. They're like the grandparents of that, right? So you give pastoral care. Of course, it changes what you do. And I think after the first wave of shock, of not knowing what to do and what to say, and after all this happens, and you lift your head and you say, "Oh, but those things are now also happening in Gaza. Hey, what's happening with that?" And I'll speak short because it's very important that my friends answer this question as well. Is that I'll speak generally that the work that I've been doing internally is something that I then try to share with my clan, with my Jewish clan. I think when such a war happens, it's like genetic that people feel for the pain of our clan. It's embedded in us. It's like like animals, and not be able to feel the pain of the other clan as much. But as a religious leader and from a spiritual point of view, I felt that what I have to do is rise above that and remember that we're all created in God's image, especially nowadays, and then try to show that to my community in the discourse and how we talk and what we do, because so this is I think what's changed is that where the war happens, we kind of go back to those clanny places, and it's very hard to rise above it, but yet I think that it's a religious imperative that this is what we do.
טוב, אתם זוכרים את המרכיבים השונים של הזהות שלי?
Remember my different identity pieces?
עכשיו בא הזמן שאני אדבר על זה, ואני אשתף מה זה אומר מבחינתי.
It's time for me to talk about it.
אז אני מוצאתי את עצמי מאז השביעי באוקטובר מחזיקה במורכבות של המרכיבים של הזהות שלי.
Since October 7th, I'm finding myself holding the different pieces of the complexity of the different pieces of my identity.
להרבה פלסטינים אזרחי המדינה יש משפחה בעזה, יש חברים בעזה, יש קרובי משפחה.
A lot of us Palestinian citizens of Israel have family and friends in Gaza.
ואנחנו גם אזרחים ישראלים שהשביעי באוקטובר היכה בנו חזק, לא רק בזה שנרצחו ערבים, אלא גם כי זה קרה דבר נורא, לי אישית בשם הדת שלי, ולפלסטינים בשם העם הפלסטיני.
And it was a terrible thing that happened as an Israeli. It's also something that happened in my name as a Muslim, and it's also something that happened in the name of the Palestinian cause. So I've been struggling with all of that.
ומאז השביעי באוקטובר, בעשייה שלי, אני מנסה לחזק את השותפות הערבית-יהודית, מנסה לחזק את השיח של שלום, ושאנחנו כולנו ביחד, באותו מצב, באותו מקום, ושמה שצריך להיות זה שבאמת המלחמה תסתיים, החטופים ישוחררו, ויתחיל משא ומתן להסכם מדיני.
What has to happen is that the war has to end, the hostages have to be released, and negotiations have to start towards a negotiated settlement.
עכשיו אני רוצה להגיד משהו שלפני השביעי באוקטובר הייתי מאוד פעילה במחאה, והלכתי לכל הפגנה ודיברתי והבאתי את הקול של החברה הערבית. כאילו זה דבר לקח לי זמן להחליט שאני הולכת עליו, אבל זה גם משהו שמתחבר למה שקורה. כי כשמדברים על דמוקרטיה ולא מדברים על כיבוש, אז חייב להישמע הקול הזה שאומר אין דמוקרטיה עם כיבוש.
Up until October 7th, I was very involved with the protests against the legal coup. And I was representing in many demonstrations the Arab voice. And that was an important preparation for me for what happened in October 7th.
שזה גם מתחבר לזהות הפלסטינית שלי, אבל גם כאזרחית ישראלית שגם רוצה דמוקרטיה, אבל דמוקרטיה אחרת, לא דמוקרטיה שכולם מדברים עליה, שרוצים לשמר אותה.
It was both as a Palestinian, but because the Palestinians are the ones who suffer most from these legal changes if they were to happen, but also as an Israeli and as a person who's looking for democracy, but not the democracy as it looks and as it stands currently in Israel.
ואם שמתם לב, התרגשתי כשהקראתי חלק מקטע מהשיר שאמר, תזכרו את אלה שאיבדו את זכותם במילים.
If you may have noticed that I was moved when I spoke those lines in the poem of people who the right to speak has been taken away from them.
אז מתחילת המלחמה יש הרבה רדיפה פוליטית, במיוחד לסטודנטים וסטודנטים, לעובדים ערבים במדינה.
Since the war started, there's it's political kind of shutdown of all kinds of people, students and all different types of people trying to speak out.
ופה היינו חייבים לעשות מאבק, אז אני שמחה שקרים פה מהאקדמיה לשוויון, שזו יוזמה של מרצות ומרצים, אנשי אקדמיה, סטודנטיות וסטודנטים בארץ, שבעצם המטרה היא באמת לוודא שיש שוויון, לתמוך בסטודנטיות וסטודנטים, וקיבלנו המון פניות באמצעות הקו החם שלנו, של סטודנטיות וסטודנטים שממש או שקיבלו מכתבי הזימון לשימוע, או אחר כך השעיה מהלימודים, וזה אחד הדברים שאי אפשר לעשות ביחד. אני כערבייה לא יכולה לעשות ביחד, ופה באה החשיבות של השותפות הערבית-יהודית בהקשר הזה.
So I've been working a lot on these issues of specifically with students, and she's very happy that Karin is here. Karin, yeah, from the Gush Neged HaKibush, and also from the Academia L'Shivyon, the Academy for Equality, which has been working, which opened a hotline for any students who are being shut down, who aren't being allowed to speak, and there's been a lot of important and painful work with that.
והזכרת את עומדים ביחד, אז אני גם חברה בהנהגת עומדים ביחד, וגם מאז המלחמה אנחנו מנסים להדהד את הקול הזה, הקול שאומר שדי, הגיע הזמן להסכם מדיני, הגיע הזמן להפסקת אש ושחרור החטופים ומשא ומתן. ועכשיו גם אני שמחה שגם נשים עושות שלום ועוד ארגונים אחרים הצטרפו לקול הזה שאנחנו חייבים להשמיע אותו.
I mentioned Omdim Be'achad, standing together early on. Adira is also a member of Standing Together.
She's
on the board of Standing Together, and that's the work that she feels deeply called to right now, and that we have to call for a ceasefire, we have to call for the hostages to return, and for a negotiated settlement. And she's very happy that a few other organizations have recently joined in on that call.
ובהסכם המדיני, תודה. בהסכם המדיני, אני עונדת את סיכה עם המספר החלטה של מועצת הביטחון של האו"ם 1325, שמדינות צריכות לשלב נשים בתפקידי מפתח בכל מה שקשור לשלום וביטחון.
So she's wearing these pins of a UN resolution number 1325, which calls for women to get significant roles in peace and security.
והגיע הזמן, המלחמה מנהלים אותה גברים, ואני לא מתנצלת מהגברים בחדר, אבל הגיע הזמן שכן נשים ייקחו חלק, והגיע הזמן שאנחנו הפלסטינים אזרחי המדינה גם נהיה חלק, כי לא באוסלו ולא בז'נבה לקחנו חלק, לא ראו אותנו, לא הישראלים ולא פלסטינים, ואנחנו יכולים להוות גשר שהשלום יגיע.
Women were not part of Oslo, and they were not part of any of these other things. They've only been pushed aside, and it's time for us to take our place as part of the people who shape the future.
הדבר האחרון שאני רוצה להגיד, שאלת למה אנחנו פה. אני באתי לפה עם מסר אחד ברור. מעבר לספר על הפעילות הבין-דתית שלי, אני רוצה לדרוש מכם לא לתפוס צד, לא להיות פרו-פלסטינים ולא להיות פרו-ישראלים, תהיו פרו-אנושיות. בני אדם, תראו את הסבל של האחר, תראו את מה ותדרישו שיהיה באמת צדק, שוויון, שלום וסיום הכיבוש.
I'm here really for one reason. This is the main reason I came, is to demand of all of you that you don't be pro-Israel and that you don't be pro-Palestine, that you be pro-humanity, and that you look towards goodness and justice and the end of the occupation.
I don't want to repeat what they say, I accept with them, but I want to add. I think the most, or one of the hard things that we deal with them after the October 7th was that both sides, each one, they don't trust the other. Each side doesn't trust the other, and there is fear also from the other. There is a fear from what will happen. There is fear from the war. What the Hamas made, the crime which committed Hamas in the October 7th was terrible and was shocking. and that bring the people not to trust each other, and that bring also the התגובה, response of Israel, and it was very hard. And the people, the Arab people, they were afraid to talk what they feel against the war. Even me, at the beginning, I was afraid to tell stop the war, even to tell stop the war. Only after that 18th Christian were killed inside the
Church.
near the church, and not inside the mitham,
Yeah, the compound.
compound of the church. I put on my Facebook, stop the war. There was stimat piyot.
Silencing.
Yes, the police, the Shabbat was arresting people who, for example, a very famous artist said, no winner, only God. No winner.
There's no winner.
لا غالب إلا الله.
لا غالب إلا الله. There's
Yes.
no winner other than God.
And a Christian, for example, my friend, a Christian lawyer, who didn't support Hamas, and he cannot support Hamas, but he writes something about the response of Israel to the act of Hamas. He was arrested for 1 week. So also in the Arab society, they afraid to talk, and that was very hard. And I think when we want to solve a problem, Jesus Christ said, how there is the golden rule. How you want that the other treat you, you have to treat the other. So we have to put ourselves instead in the other place, and to think what I want if I have been instead of him, how I want the other treat me, and I have to act in the same way. And if we do like this, I think a lot of problem will be solved.
Amen.
Listen to the spirit of the Galilee and change their decision, I'm not sure, because actually the United States of America also asked that from the Israeli government, and I'm not sure that they even listened to them. But however, do all of us know about this? That all the people in the group know that the Christians and the Jews in this instant care about the suffering of the Muslims? Yes. Do we echo this letter in all our communities, and Muslim people know that we care? Yes. See, this is how we need one another to combat extremism. In this case, the extremists are actually the government, okay? We can't maybe always succeed because these extremists are strong and they're prevailing, but we try to set a different tone.
I'm sure there's a lot of questions, but what I'm going to suggest is that I'll invite Judy. Judy has a word to say, and then I'm going to invite you all to just ask the questions and huddle around these three wonderful people. And really ask the questions. I know people always say that after a talk back, and nobody ever does. But do it. Come, let's keep the conversation going. And I just want to make sure everybody in this room knows the word shukran. Shukran. Everybody knows shukran. Yeah. Shukran is thank you in Arabic. So let's all give shukran. Shukran Radir. Shukran Saba. Shukran Yaor. Afwan. And here's Judy.
Hello, if you do not know me, I am Judy Miner. I am the president of the new Shul. I was so excited to say my own shokran. I was all ready. So again, I want to say shokran for the Toda Rabah. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to have all of you here. So thank you for your for your information, also for the inspiration. So thank you all for coming. I just want to say very quickly, on each seat there, you may have seen this piece of paper. And on one side, you have the link to Spirit of the Galilee, if you care to learn more about them and to support their organization if you've been moved by tonight. And on the other side, you have a QR link to the New Shul as well. If you have been moved and touched by tonight, I'm going to ask you to make a contribution to us as well so that we can continue to bring this kind of programming, because this is what we're about and this is what we care about. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom. Please stay and chat.
Should we do this one together?
Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Maybe I'll try this one in Arabic. Mabruk inta Allah, Malik al-Alam. ساعدونا ملك العالم الخارج خالق موتسي يخرج الخبز من الأرض. آمين آمين. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.